Hi, I'm Ellen Moore, but you mortals can call me Devin.
Hi, I'm Ben. I twerk here.
Yeah, he just twerks here.
Nico X.
So, as you may know, unless you've been living in a cave, Wes Craven has passed away. The renowned horror, the legend, in fact, of horror cinema. And to commemorate him, we are talking about one of his most underrated films, or perhaps just perfectly rated, I don't know. We're going to see what everyone else thinks. But it's called Swamp Thing. It's based on the DC Comics line of the same name.
Magazines.
Magazines, as the movie said.
Oh yeah, DC
That's
Magazines.
what they called them
right.
back then.
Green Plant! Green Plant, in honor of Swamp Thing. Because of the whole, like...
Drink your broth.
Drink your broth.
Could have just easily smoked pot. That's actually amazingly good.
It's sweet, right?
Yeah. I was kind of horrified, like honestly horrified, but that was tits. So
He's actually really into DC Comics and all that kind of stuff, so he's...
the whole reason why I'm here.
As am I, except I haven't gotten to Swamp Thing yet. I have so many. I have an enormous library of graphic novels, and I haven't gotten to Swamp Thing yet, but I will soon.
Yeah, I myself grew up with the movie, actually. When I was a small child, I saw it on... Fuck this thing. I saw it on TV, and where its shortcomings in quality as a film overall, I think, are more than made up for by the fact that it is memorable, especially if you're a small child.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you, motherfucking fuck.
It was the 70s, and some guy named Len Wen and Bernie Wrightson, or some guys, decided to rip off some character called the Heap and made Swamp Thing.
Marvel had their own character called...
Marvel had their own character called Man Thing, and they're pretty similar.
So he was kind of known, but he wasn't like a household name yet.
He actually became kind of famous when Alan Moore, the guy who wrote V for Vendetta, Watchmen, From Hell, anything worth reading.
He went on to become basically a god of comic books.
Yeah, that's why he looks like Alan Moore.
Yeah, I've got the whole... That's why I'm stupid like this, so I can,
So, unfortunately, the movie came out before Alan Moore took over the comics.
Yep.
So...
all that depth, all that
awesome...
that magical touch that he gave the character in that whole universe is absent from this film.
Yeah, I was kind of upset about that when I found that out. And they don't take advantage of Swamp Thing's powers like how he has in the comics. He can't teleport places via using different plant life. John Constantine doesn't exist. Cable and Abigail are meshed into a single character played by the drunk chick from Creepshow that got eaten by the creature.
Adrienne Barbeau, the two biggest stars in this movie.
Oh god.
Who also went on to voice Selena Kyle in Batman the Animated
Oh yeah.
We should also note that we see her tits even though it's a PG movie.
Oh yeah, this is a very hard PG from the early 80s.
Very hard PG.
But that brings us nicely into the plot.
Oh
so,
yes.
So basically what the story is Alice Cable shows up to this guy's little shack in the woods where Dr. Alec Holland...
Tits ablazing.
With her tits ablazing. And Alec Holland and his...
I'm Linda Holland.
Sister/girlfriend. We don't really know.
Buddy. It was his wife in the comics, and it weirded me out.
Yeah, there's that scene where she catches him kissing Adrienne Barbeau, and she kind of looks away and
almost
she's
like
like
jealousy. He basically is developing this Reanimator glowing green serum from Reanimator. They develop a serum that can, by combining plant and animal DNA, it can create plants that'll grow to just like ridiculous proportions and survive in any climate. But then Arcane sneaks in with basically the coolest introduction I've ever seen for a villain. One of them, anyway.
He's being difficult.
No, Ritter. Not you.
No, Dr. Holland. Not Ritter. Ritter, poor fellow, is long dead. You have heard of, but never seen me, so I will introduce myself. My name is Arcane. Linda, come here. Yeah.
Leave her alone.
I think he works for the Mission Impossible group.
Yeah, he's got the face mask of somebody else, and he's posing as That's some Ethan Hunt shit, man.
Yeah, that is me.
Baby had a skin tape session.
Maybe had a skin tape station. Hello again. Kill Dr. Holland's sister.
Oh, buddy.
Holland gets doused in the chemicals and he runs out and he's on fire and he jumps into the swamp. And so it's a very sort of Hulk-esque origin story where there's some scientific accidents and he became this big green hulking beast.
But there wasn't that much of a story because, Adrian Barbeau just fucking runs away.
Yeah, like
and then
I
gets
said,
kidnapped.
the effective thing with a lot of superhero movies is if you make it some other genre that just happens to be based on a comic book. And the case with, like Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. And this is a horror film. This is totally like cheesy Wes Craven, like it's like sort of action adventure horror. But yeah, like you said, the story just falls apart because after a certain point, it's just any more green plant.
So do I. We all do.
Yeah.
The movie falls into this really annoying cycle where Agent Cable sort of just runs away a lot and gets captured by Arcane's men, runs away and gets captured, and it's kind of a never-ending cycle of boredom.
Yeah. Oh, no, not when the magic black guy shows
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Jude.
As TV tropes would say, the magical Negro shows up, and he's this young black guy who really needed to just have his own movie.
He's literally a 12-year-old boy who's running a gas station for some reason.
He is,
Pre-Urkel.
Pre-Urkel, yeah.
yeah, he has the best line in the movie.
Oh shit. There goes the neighborhood.
Guys, we have a special guest here. We got
Iron Man. Tony Stark.
Hey,
We
fellas.
figured we would bridge the gap between DC and Marvel by introducing a very special guest.
Anyway, it looks like we're reviewing Swamp Thing.
Oh yeah, here, Mr. Stark, let me get you some delicious green plant.
Surprisingly tasty. Oh, that's a lot.
Please,
Oh, that's
my
a lot.
little friend, have some.
Oh yes. Mmm. Yeah, we were talking about Wes Craven, rest in peace, and his how this kind of stacks up again. Yeah. Here's one for the homies.
Wait, let me, this is for Wes Craven.
There you go.
Let's do it, don't be a bitch. Come on.
Fuck you, mother. He had done, I want to say, Last House on the Left. Obviously, was his first film, and that was kind of another one where the environment sort of played a character in the whole way everything was shot, and it had like family themes. And then he did was the one with the
Hills Have
rednecks?
Eyes.
The Hills
Yeah.
Have Eyes, yeah. And that was almost the same thing. The environment was kind of a character. It was about family and
It's all about being isolated.
yeah, isolated and with family themes. And here we have Swamp Thing. The swamp obviously is almost like the main character, right? It's in the title, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
But this is Wes Craven's only superhero film.
yeah, this is a horror master's take on a superhero film.
I must state that the original Swamp Thing comics were actually horror comics, kind of like
Yeah.
the EC comics of the 50s.
One of Wes Craven's first sort of like really big budget films, relatively.
Yeah, $3 million.
Yeah, but I mean, it had stunts and stuff.
Stunts and a little bit more bigger names, just slightly.
Bigger names, yeah. You had
It had the top of a car that gently fluttered away.
Oh, yeah. My favorite part. Yeah, you actually had the veteran French actor Louis Jourdan as Arcane.
Oh yeah.
You also had kind of a who's who of cult actors. You had David Hess from Last House on the Left, who was the main muscle, I guess. And then you had Nicholas Worth, who was in Darkman. Got thrown out a window, as I recall.
Every time I look at Nicholas Worth, I always think he's wearing a mask.
Yeah. I always think it's Liam Neeson under there.
But yeah, let's talk about Adrienne Barbeau, how good she looked in this film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she's a character that was invented for the film.
Because every superhero films need a love interest.
Oh yeah, of course, naturally. Even if it is kind of a Frankenstein, Beauty and the Beast, King Kong sort of relationship.
Anyway, I remember I met Adrienne Barbeau back in 2007 for a horror convention, and she was really cool. And
Really?
Yeah. I got her autograph, but I gave it to my dad though, because like it just has to give, because he was a big fan of Swamp Thing.
But I did think it was cool that she was a strong, independent
Woman who didn't need no
character.
swamp band.
Who didn't care
Nico
that she
Swamp.
endangered a 12-year-old boy's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't very smart, but I admire her tenacity and.
She was wearing heels in the forest, and that bothered me for some reason. Like,
Yeah,
why the
yeah.
fuck is she in heels?
Since Steven couldn't be here, we had the gay fashion police
What?
surrogate for the day.
Even though I'm a straight heterosexual male.
I always thought it was funny when she's on the table, or she's eating dinner, and she's in the dress, but she's all chained up with her arms. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so weird.
She's still on her heels.
Everybody else is eating normal, and she's just sitting there like all miserable, but it's still nicely dressed.
I did think it was funny they put her in an evening gown
Yeah.
for the ceremony or whatever. But she is cool 'cause she's kind of witty and kind of like tough
Yeah.
and.
Terrific. I'll remember that the next time I throw a party.
She did steal a machine gun earlier in the movie and knew how to use it
Yeah.
perfectly.
Not only that, she outrun a Jeep.
Yeah.
She outran a Jeep. So let's talk about Swamp Thing, the titular character. This is
First
one of
things
those-
first. Who actually played Swamp Thing? Ray Wise or Dick Durlock?
Dick Durrock. So this is one of those things where it's like you have to get at least the main superhero right. And did they get him right? As a veteran fan of the comics, what are
Jesus.
your thoughts?
Kinda, yeah. They got the idea down. I think it was the best they could literally have done way back in the 80s for $3 million. But the neck looked funny to me. His face didn't look right.
They got the Swamp Thing has that iconic thing where his nose kind of goes down into his muzzle.
And they didn't have that.
I was thinking they could have at least taken some live, or not, it didn't even have to be live, they could have taken some fake, leaves and moss and put it on him, but...
I know, but I thought what they did with the costume though was pretty fine though. It just, it was like, I just like to say, since he's practically transforming into a Swamp Thing, he's still kind of in the process.
I'm sure it was fine back then. By today's standard, it's kind of,
I guess for 1982.
a bad cosplay.
It's not as bad as Arcane's costume. I'll give it that.
Costume.
I'll give it that. It's not as bad.
Even the worst kaiju movie has better
Costumes
monster
than
effects. This is the same year, mind you, that The Thing came out.
Oh
my God.
Yeah,
mind-blowing special effects.
Okay.
Then there was no excuse.
There was no excuse.
Well, there's probably some excuse. I
Yeah,
just can't think of one. Well, again, he's so much more awesome when Alan Moore got a hold of him. They did what they could with where the character was at the time. Sorta, right?
Fade in obscurity, practically.
Yeah.
And this was obviously before Nightmare on Elm Street as well.
Yeah.
Of course, the special effects would be a little better in Nightmare on Elm Street, which are awesome.
Those were awesome. But yeah, that fight between the Arcane Beast and
Swamp Thing was pretty awesome.
yeah.
I thought it was cool how they were just fighting with the swords and everything in the swamp.
It was a cool fight, but I would have liked to see something a little more based on their intellect. Like they're two geniuses,
Yeah.
and it would have been cooler to see if they could incorporate some kind of intellectual component to their fight.
That would have been a great scene. Imagine if they just walked out to the steamy swamp and they
played
just
a
sat
game of
down at a
chess.
table and stared at each other. Yeah.
Speaking of the character Arcane, how does he hold up to? Is he like the comic book character? Or?
God, no, he's not. He's not. He's not.
He has mac and cheese blood.
Yeah.
No, but how is he in the comic books compared to it in the movie?
Well, okay.
Is
So
he
in the
more of a complex? Because I know that the Swamp Thing comics are okay.
Okay, so in the comics, he's like this wizard guy that has the unmen. There's a bunch of mutants and shit. And eventually he himself becomes a mutant. So that happens, but he doesn't look like a warthog werewolf. Actually, no, I don't really have an opinion of the movie version of him besides the Kaiju costume.
Kaiju.
Kaiju, whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, that was another scene that when I saw the movie as a kid that scared the shit out of me.
When he's ripping
When
off
his face is falling off and.
Yeah.
I always thought it was kind of a cool effect, how they did that, where he
it was really
just
cool.
the way he's slowly ripping it off. It's nice.
You tell that's where all the money went because those effects were pretty spectacular.
No, all the money went to the fucking boat explosion.
Explosion, right? But after that, the Arcane transformation was probably.
That was the last $50,000.
Yeah.
I think he's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, he is for me too.
But talent does only what it can. Genius does what it must.
Oh yeah, he was definitely fun to watch. Louis Georgian.
Yeah.
I want to see more stuff with him.
He kind of fit into the character really well, I feel like, and
This new version of him.
yeah, he fit into the
Then watch the
screen
Return of Swamp
character.
Thing. They did bring Mark Kane back for the sequel, The Return of Swamp Thing.
Oh, yeah, let's touch upon the sequel. I didn't like it very much, honestly, but
The effects were better in that film, but it seemed more over the top than this one.
yeah, they made it a comedy, which I didn't really appreciate because Swamp Thing isn't really a funny character to me.
Comic.
So, final verdict.
Well, I love Swamp Thing. It's definitely a classic, movie, especially for Wes Craven. It's really worth watching if you're a Wes Craven fan or if you're a Swamp Thing fan. And it's definitely worth seeing, just because it's like if you're a horror fan, it's filmed in a very horror style. It has that Wes Craven touch to it.
Yeah.
And even if you're not a guy who follows comics, I think you should appreciate it for what it is.
Well, I'm a fan of the comics like Ben is, so I can't say it's completely accurate or, it doesn't follow that exactly, but it's nostalgic, it's 80s, it's Wes Craven, so for those reasons I like it. It's not, would I say it's an amazing adaptation? No, but it's a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
So,
You seem the most conflicted about it.
I kind of treat it as a comedy. I know that's how you feel about the sequel, but the entire time I was laughing, and it wasn't a straight adaptation, which kind of annoyed me. It was kind of like the Shaquille O'Neal Steel.
Oh my god, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But
Seriously,
taking it back, I like this one more than the Steel.
Okay,
But the Steel.
The Steel? The Steel's 2 hours of your life?
Yeah. But I can't take this movie seriously. It's not really at all like the comics. I will say that for what it is, it's pretty tits. So, from a scale of 1 to 10, it's pretty tits.
Yeah, as for myself, I think it's I think it's perfectly serviceable, and like I said, the shortcomings and the way it was written and stuff, like we could pick it apart all day and say, well, this doesn't make any sense, that doesn't make any sense, and the pacing is all off, but ultimately what it comes down to is it entertaining and is it memorable? And I say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially if you're a little kid and you catch it on TV.
Mm-hmm. I didn't have that.
The really traumatic parts where like people are like transforming and dying and shit.
like when he's taking off his face too.
Yeah, when the arcane beast is like coming out of his pupa, that is a really, like, I don't want to say iconic, obviously, but
well, in my case, like John Waters is an iconic director for me, so I don't have a strong level. I don't have a strong meter for taste, so it's fun to watch. So in that way, it's a good movie.
Well, I love Swamp Thing. I think it's like on par with like Darkman or any of those dark superhero films.
When you put it like that, it's like a low budget horror director's rise to power, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
This is another step on the Wes Craven ladder where he hadn't quite gotten to Nightmare yet, but he did something that was a really interesting experiment as far as genre goes, and
he was almost there.
He was almost there, and this is, I think, like the last step before he got there.
Nightmare was awesome.
Yeah, so
it
definitely.
Still was awesome.
I think wasn't that 2 years after Swamp Thing. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, Swamp Thing, commemorate a genius of horror. Check it out. And buy Green Plant from Trader Joe's.
I drank all mine, so.
As did I.
No. Nico!